Hey everybody, it's the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a channel that is dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating just one meal a day. So, is OMAD just another fad diet? Is it just like a lot of the other trends that you've seen out there? Or is OMAD or time-restricted eating here to stay for the long haul? Well, today I want to give you my opinion and weigh in on how I feel OMAD is shaping up and whether or not it'll be here for the long haul. My inspiration for the post today came from the fact that I'm a member of several different health and wellness groups on Facebook, one of which is a group for those who are 40 years old and older and who are looking to maintain their weight or get in shape, lose some weight, and just keep themselves vibrant and healthy as they age. Everybody has a different, it's not OMAD specific, everybody has a different approach to how they do it, different diets, different eating styles. Some exercise pretty intensely, some are nearly professional bodybuilders, some of them are gym rats, some of them just go for simple walks or do different yoga or things like that. But so it's a really interesting place for people to share inspirational stories and before and after pictures and whatnot. But one day, a gentleman posted whether or not anybody had tried intermittent fasting before he was looking to do it, and if so, could they please share their story. And of course, I chimed in and showed my before and after pictures and told a brief little story and said, check me out on YouTube if you want to learn some more. And of course, another member replied with the eye rolling, going, oh yeah, here we go, I'm so tired, this is just another fad diet, and I can't wait till this fad is over with. So it got me to thinking, is this just another fad diet? This is something I want to talk about today. OMAD is not a fad diet, mostly because it's not even a diet. If you took 100 people who were practicing some form of intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating, put them in a room, ask them what their plan is and what they eat, you'd probably get 100 different responses. And that's a good thing. And also a bad thing is that I've discussed in my video entitled Why OMAD Will Never Go Mainstream. It's good in the sense that it fits your lifestyle, your temperament, and your values and beliefs, but bad in the sense that many people out there need a very strict, very specific schedule for when they're dieting. For example, if you went on whatever diet happens to be out there, it would tell you, okay, every day this is when you're going to eat, this is what you're going to eat, here's the sample menu, here are the exercises you're going to do, in the order you're going to do them, and when you're going to do them, etc., etc. The thinking is completely out of it. A lot of what happens here is done by self-experimentation. I can tell you that in the near 2 years that I've been doing OMAD, I've been doing a ton of experimenting on how I can make this perfectly fit into my lifestyle. And there have been some high points and low points for me, and I've shared that on this channel. I'm planning on sharing some more of that with you. And I've gone through these little experiments because I want to fully embrace this. I want to know what works best for me, what doesn't work. And this way here, that's how I can make it last into a lifestyle and make it last for the long haul. And the problem with a fad diet is that it goes out of style quickly because you're not really able to embrace it for the most part and make it into a lifestyle and make it into a way of living for a long haul. Many people try to just give up all carbohydrates, or they try to go on these ultra-restrictive diets, or they go to an extreme with the fasting end of it, and they're doing, they're trying to do 30 and 40-day fasts, or whatever it happens to be. And what they find is that it doesn't fit their lifestyle. It doesn't necessarily fit their situation. And because those diets are so regimented and so strict, and there's so many rules and they're so by the book, you can't have any sort of variation from it at all. And so if you have a slight little tweak, if you say, well, I need to do this, it doesn't work for me, I need to go like in this direction, then that community kind of attacks you and says, well, you're doing it wrong, or you're cheating, and it makes you feel like a failure. And ultimately what it ends up having you do is stopping the diet, stopping eating healthy, stopping, trying to achieve a healthy weight and, and a healthy body numbers. And that's the wrong thing. So the main difference I see between this and that is that, is between, whether or not OMAD is a fad diet and the other diets out there that we know are fad diets, is whether or not you can do this for the long haul. And I've been doing this for almost 2 years. I know of other people who've been doing this for as many as 5 years. So I've been in contact with some people who've even been doing it for longer than 10 years. And I can definitely tell you that this is a way of life that you can definitely do this for the long haul. Now, just to give you some sort of something to judge about where I'm coming from when I say fad diets, I went and did some Google searching, and I found a list online of the top 10 fad diets of the past 10 years. And I just want to go through this list because I'm sure some of you guys out there are going to laugh and nod your head and go, yep, I remember that one, because I have done quite a few of these on here. And some I haven't actually heard of, but they're pretty crazy. But I want to go through this list and show the commonalities of them, of why they would be considered a fad diet. Okay, so number 1 on this list was the paleo diet. I actually tried this one. It's where we try to mimic the diet of our caveman ancestors. And the thing, too, with all of these diets is all the literature will tell you that that particular diet is the way we were meant to eat. We try to mimic the way we ate when we were in the Paleolithic era. The problem with that is that our food system today has changed greatly. A lot of our food is genetically modified in some way or another. It's been raised and bred over the years to have more sweetness or more fat, and it's totally different from what you would see out in the wild. And so, yes, it's great for people who have autoimmune disorders, like, say, for example, you have a lot of food allergies, food sensitivities, you're allergic to gluten, or there are some people who go on this diet as sort of a default only because they're allergic to so many different foods, and this seems to help. But for the most part, when I went on this diet, the only thing I happened to lose was some cash out of my wallet, because when you buy this sort of food where everything is ultra organic, ultra pasture raised, and it's very much expensive, and it gives the impression that all the other food that's in the food system right now is just bad and wrong and horrible for you. And real food, I mean, we can nitpick about the little qualities here and there, but real food at the end of the day is always going to be healthy for you, whether it's ultra organic, pasture raised, or it's not. So the paleo diet, yeah, I'm sure some of you may have tried that out there. I tried that one. Number 2 is something called the Master Cleanse. This is pretty much about a 2-week water fast, but with the water, I'm told that they put in lemon juice, a little bit of maple syrup, and some cayenne pepper. And sometimes they even have people use laxatives with it, mostly as a way, I guess, to just shit out the weight. I don't know. This is basically just a water fast with a little bit of electrolytes in there. And I can't imagine anybody wanting to have water with lemon juice, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper in it. Again, on their own, some of these have some decent properties in there, but again, 2 weeks of water fasting and doing this, and you may lose some weight, and then you go right back to unhealthy eating patterns, or eating too much, or eating too often, and you supposedly have to do the Master Cleanse again, I guess. So I don't know. I would just, again, clearly a fad, clearly not effective in working. I don't know if anybody of you out there have tried. Again, if you've tried any of these diets, please leave me a comment in the section below, and I want to hear from you. But number 3 was either the cabbage, it was a tie between the cabbage soup diet or the grapefruit diet, where every day you consume mostly cabbage soup, or I think it was before you went to eat anything, you would have a grapefruit. And I remember the grapefruit diet. I didn't try that one, but the grapefruit, supposedly the acid from the grapefruit was supposed to help eat up all of the fat in your body. And you fill up on grapefruit, or you fill up on the cabbage soup first, and it's mostly just water. And in the beginning chapter of Why French Women Don't Get Fat, of the book, her Muriel, I forgot her last name, but this French woman who took a lot of weight off, as the story goes. Her doctor pretty much put her on some sort of cabbage soup diet for a process of a week, which is basically just a water fast. And again, these are little gimmicks that people are doing with the hope that they lose some weight. And a lot of people do lose weight on some of these stupid gimmicks. The problem is you're not fixing the eating disorders. You're not fixing the problem with constantly eating. And it works for a little while, but who wants to eat cabbage soup every day for the rest of their life? I know I wouldn't. Number 4, the alkaline diet. This is pretty much a vegan diet where you only eat and consume alkaline promoting vegetables and foods, which are mostly just green vegetables. I mean, most other vegetables, even things like lemons, could be considered acidic. The theory, and I read a book about this a while ago, it was the theory was that if you could raise you have a certain balance of acid and alkaline within your bloodstream, and if you could raise it to be slightly more alkaline than acidic, then no disease can survive in your body and you would lose weight. One of the main reasons you lose weight on this diet, though, is because you're not really consuming any food. You're really just consuming a whole bunch of raw or just green vegetables. It's not very nutritious at all, not really balanced. And another thing is once this was studied for quite some time and there was more information on it, many people found that you don't want to really mess around too much with that acid-alkaline balance in your body. Yes, it should be within a certain range, but you don't want to have these drastic swings. It could lead to very bad health problems. Another thing that's common with these fad diets is that they make work for one thing for the short term, but in the long haul they cause like maybe 3 or 4 other problems, which is not good for you. Number 5 was Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem. These are still going on. They're still popular. I just read an article recently about how Oprah Winfrey with Weight Watchers they are really struggling because they are losing with the popularity of the keto diet, because people are eating whatever they want on the keto. Not necessarily, well, not what they want, but people like Oprah are saying, I'm having my bread and I'm enjoying it, but they're counting points. And some of these systems are just overly complicated and extremely expensive, because for the most part, you can't even cook your own food, because trying to figure out how many points and everything and what category goes in where, it just becomes so time consuming. So the whole point, what they're trying to get you to do is buy their processed, pre-made junk food, and you just count the points that way. And so it's very expensive. There's no room for tweaking. There's no room for crafting your own meals or anything like that. And some people are finding that it doesn't work well if they have different immune disorders, like if they're celiac, or if people just want to eat fresh. Like, you're stuck with those specific plans, and then you have to be an engineer with a trigonometry degree on how to calculate the points and how many points you haven't had today. This is how it takes over your whole life, and you really feel like you're on a diet. Horrible. There was the Zone diet, which I guess consists of mostly 1/3. Your plate would consist of 1/3 of lean protein, 2/3 of vegetables, and it's supposed to be a diet that helps to fight inflammation. All the power to that. Inflammation is bad for you, and it's one of the things that time-restricted eating does naturally, is it gives your body a chance to reduce inflammation. But again, it's not really necessarily talking about how these foods are cooked. Eating real food like that, all the power to you. It's definitely a positive thing, and it will improve your health. But again, most people find that it does definitely feel like a diet, because when you go into a social situation and if there's pizza or there's a cookout and you're having burgers, it's like, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't fit with my ultra-restrictive diet plan. It's not flexible at all. Number 7, Atkins or the South Beach diet. I did Atkins for a little while. I got I think it was 20 grams of carbohydrates a day and under, and I was doing that for a little while. It's a fad diet for sure, because many people are seeing now that carbs aren't necessarily the enemy. Yes, you shouldn't overdo the carbs, just like you shouldn't overdo anything. But again, another expensive diet plan, and now, of course, the Atkins umbrella is all concerned with selling Atkins junk food. Low carb chocolate bars, low carb ice cream, low carb breads, and all of the things that in the original book they told you to avoid and to stop eating, and to definitely cut back on. Now they're all coming up with this ultra processed junk food, and the Atkins diet is just a horrible processed diet now. So definitely stay away from that. Number 8, the Mediterranean diet. A good overall in theory. However, the products that they have over in the Mediterranean versus here are totally different. The fish is much fresher. It's often almost always wild caught. Whenever they do have, say, chicken or beef or whatever, it's a very small amount, because it's very expensive, because it's raised properly, it's pasture raised, it's grass fed, it's the way it's supposed to be. A lot of the products don't have the chemicals and the genetic modifying that we do here in the States. So we try to eat like we would in the Mediterranean diet, and we find that for the most part it really just doesn't work. It just raises our cholesterol for a lot. So it definitely was a fad diet, not necessarily a low fat diet, but they try to get you to replace butter with olive oil. And one of the problems I've had with olive oil is, one, it's hard to find true authentic real olive oil that isn't cut with other oils. There's a book out called Extra Virginity. In fact, it's not the only book about the olive oil industry and how much of a scam olive oil can often be. They usually cut it with different oils, but not only that, but sometimes those oils are pretty rancid. When you have really good fresh olive oil, you'll see that in other parts of the Mediterranean, like Greece, Italy, France. They get olive oil that was freshly pressed. You open up that bottle of olive oil, and the aroma just engulfs your entire kitchen and almost your entire house. It's so fresh and pungent, and it's strong with olives. And if you look at when it was manufactured in most bottles in your grocery store, the olive oil that you get, even though it's fresh off the shelf, it's been sitting in that bottle for nearly a year. In some cases, it's been in there even longer than that. And it ends up being rancid, and most of the healthy properties you have of it, after it being a year or 2 years old, how healthy do you think that's going to be for you? So think about that. Number 9, the raw diet. This is, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous of all of these fad diets, where you consume nothing but raw food. Do some reading. Yes, eating some raw vegetables and some, raw foods can be healthy for you, but cooking does release certain nutrients in different foods and makes them to where we can eat them into it more palatable. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube who are raw dieters, and after about a year of doing it, sometimes they can go a little bit longer, but after about a year or so of doing it, they just look anemic. They look like a pale skeleton, and a lot of people have a lot of health problems on that diet. I would definitely stay away from that. And number 10, I never heard of this one, but the macrobiotic diet. It's no meat, no eggs, no dairy. It's mostly tofu, tempeh, and some sea vegetables. Again, you're having some more processed food. It's extremely ultra restrictive, and okay, sure, you lose a few pounds. It's like a lot of people, especially celebrities, they hop on these fad diet trains because they have a movie role, they have a show, there's something they have to prepare for, and it's like, okay, I'm willing to do anything so that people can see me for my 1 week or my one role or whatever, as a thin person. And then when they look at their overall health for the long haul, they really, once they start to get to the brass tacks of all of these fad diets, they realize how difficult, how restrictive, and how tough it is to keep with it for the long haul. And I'd rather have something like OMAD where I could eat what I want, but I restrict my time as far as I eat every single day, as opposed to being one of these like health Nazis that are saying, well, I'm only going to eat the most primo, ultra organic and best foods out there, but who can only stick to it for a couple months at a time, and then goes back to having these wild, crazy binges and just junk food. And it's not like on OMAD I eat solely junk food. I do have my junk food treats once in a while, but I don't look at it psychologically as, oh, I'm cheating on my diet, or I'm being bad, or this is wrong. No, I'm enjoying life, and I'm able to enjoy these treats in life, and I'm still able to maintain my weight loss. I'm still able to have a weight loss, and all of my health numbers aren't going through the roof or going crazy all of the time. So this was just a list I wanted to share with you guys of the 10 fad diets that I found online. If there's anyone that I missed that you've tried that you'd like to share with us, please send me an email or leave it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear some of the diets that you guys have been on. And so overall, the message for me today is, no, OMAD is not a fad diet. It's not even a diet at all. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of eating. It works on so many different levels, not just weight loss, but it works amazing for weight loss. And if you really give it a chance, if you give it a try, you will be surprised and amazed at how well it works for you, how you're able to save money, how you're able to feel better and not be so tied and bogged down and just trapped in this constant consumption of food all the time. So that is it for me today. I hope you had a great day. Have a very happy OMAD, and be well.